Hey everyone, it is Fitz with a special edition of the Deep Purple because we've got to get this out there and talk about what the Big 12 just did. Really muddling up a mess even further. It was horrible what they did, astonishing what they did, and of course I'm talking about the tiebreaker rules. I talked about it in a recent daily delivery. It was kind of messy, but as you read the rules, they went and changed them on Tuesday in midstream. 2 games from the end of the year, they changed their own rules. And I'm going to tell you why they got it wrong. First, your reminder, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. We are growing. We're almost at 11K. If you're watching our videos and not subscribing to this channel, please do. It's free to you and helps us out because the more people that subscribe, the more our algorithm will grow. And leave those comments, hit the thumbs up, and turn on your alerts, all of it. On with this important Deep Purple. As of Tuesday morning, the Big 12's tiebreaker steps for 3 or more schools being tied were on the site. I don't know if they're still up there or if they've altered them already. But there was some confusion over the first rule. And I'm going to read it to you and explain why there was confusion, but why, despite being incredibly poorly worded by, I don't know who at the Big 12 possibly wrote it this way without someone copy editing it, but it is unbelievable. What is this person's English a second language? Did they never take any writing classes? Do they not know basic grammar and sentence structure? Here's number 1 in deciding ties of 3 or more schools. Let me explain though. Texas is number 1 right now. As with 2 games to play, they're the leader of the Big 12. But who plays Texas in the championship game? If all the schools went out that I'm about to mention, including Kansas State beating Iowa State, there will be a 3-way tie between Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma. Now, at question here is Kansas State and Oklahoma did not play each other, so there's not a complete round robin between the 3 to decide who plays. Now, in fairness, Oklahoma State beat both schools, so even if Kansas State and Oklahoma had played, Oklahoma State wins that. I get what they're changing the rule to be. I'm not questioning that. I'm questioning when they're changing the rule. You clearly can't change rules in the middle of the game. Hey fellas, I know the game in the first half was this way, but now we're going to call it this way. That's not how it works. You don't change rules in the middle of things. You wait to the next season and change things. Let me read you step 1 in this Big 12 muddled mess of criteria for breaking 3 or more school ties. Head-to-head, best cumulative win percentage in games among the tied teams. That's the first sentence. Some of it's in parentheses for some reason. If not, every tied team has played each other. Well written. Go to step 2. That should say this, and this should be the clarification. If every tied team has not played each other, it's good structure right there. Go to step 2. It doesn't say if not every team has played each other, then you can kind of balance, you can decide who wins the round robin. And I get that what they want to do now is probably fair, but it's not fair to change rules in the middle of something. Here's step 2. Record against the next highest placed common opponent in the standings. So if you haven't played a complete round robin, you go down the rankings, the standings of the conference, and you come to Iowa State or Kansas, whomever has played all 3 schools. And then you start sorting out, oh, you went 2-0, or you beat them and you beat them and you lost. Now we go to head with those 2 teams that won. Or if everyone won, you move to the next opponent. That's what these rules say. On Tuesday, the Big 12 announced, not through their own doing, they leaked to news services. In this case, Brett McMurphy at Stadium had the scoop, which he always does, that they've clarified the rules by adding, but if one team clearly wins the tiebreaker in one, you can just go with that. That's not a clarification. That is a rules change. And that is peeing on my feet and tell me it's raining. Don't change the rules in middle stream. It's fundamentally unfair. You don't get to go to court and say, hey, I know when this crime was committed, this wasn't against the law, but now it is, so let's let's do this. Let's commit. Let's get them convicted. It's not how it works. There's a fundamental unfairness to this that is shocking by this conference. But really, what angers me is the Big 12 didn't have the guts to just come forward and say, we screwed up. This was our original intent. We poorly worded this, and we're going to clarify. Even if this displeases you, we feel it is best for the conference to get this right, even if we change the rules. What did their release say? Well, as of right now, when I'm taping this, at about 7 o'clock on Tuesday, we have no release from the Big 12. We only have media leaks. Look, I know you enjoyed leaking all kinds of stuff to your selected media handlers during the conference realignment. But when it comes to news, when it comes to a conference decision of this magnitude, you put out a news release. You stand in front of people and say, this is what we did and why we did it. And don't tell me you didn't change the rules when you clearly did change the rules. I am staring right at them. At the end of the day, it may not matter. We still got 2 more weeks of football to play. And if you're Kansas State, you're upset not only because they changed the rules, but let's be really honest. You're upset because you were going to win this version of the tiebreaker that the conference put out. But the conference decided you shouldn't win that. So this is why it kind of makes sense to change it. Oklahoma State beat both Oklahoma and Kansas State, but Oklahoma and K-State didn't play. Doesn't matter what they would have done. Oklahoma State would have won that tiebreaker. But your rules don't say that's how it's done. And that's the real issue. You can't just alter things. It's not how things should be done. And to do it with a leak to the media, come on, Big 12, you've been better than that. You should be better than that. We got 2 more weeks to play. And if I'm confident in one thing the most, this won't end with these 3 schools tied. So at the end of the day, it may not matter. Iowa State might beat Kansas State, and they might be in the entire mess here. Iowa State might beat Texas and turn this into a bigger mess by expanding the tied teams. But what if they do all win out? And let's also be honest here. It's just kind of weird that Kansas State would be punished in this for losing to good teams like Oklahoma State and Texas, while Oklahoma State benefits from getting blown out by UCF, one of the bottom tier teams in this conference. That's odd. And it also makes me think Oklahoma State may lose another game or 2. If you're Kansas State, win your games. And if Oklahoma State and Oklahoma both lose, you're in the game. That's all you can control. The team can't be worried about this. Just go win your games, because if you don't, it doesn't mean a damn thing. They lose that Oklahoma tiebreaker, of course, because the best common opponent between the 2 teams that didn't play would be Texas. K-State lost. Oklahoma won. I hope this sorts it out. We'll have a DD tomorrow. I'm upset. And while the Big 12 is apparently getting this right, they went about it in a completely wrong way, and honestly, a cowardly way. Step to the mic and own your mistake. Don't lie to us.